So, how do you start writing? There's many ways, so I'll go over the way I do it and the way I'll be doing it in the book series that we write here on this series, and then how a few of my friends do it. First, how I do it. I go character creation, world creation, and then the plot. It's easier for me to fit the characters, make them what I want, and then readjust the plot and the world to fit around them. So, first off, character creation. I use Canva and Google Slides, and I'm going to make later videos comparing the two for different series. Um, for example, When the World Collapses is on Canva, and Shadow of Light is on Google Slides. My notes, I need to find them. But the format remains the same: birth date, family, prominent traits. If there's an actor or just a picture I found that I could base the character off of look-wise, I add that. As you can see on the slide where I show Mikaelson, Eslin's son from Shadow of Light. And then the world creation. So with When the World Collapses, it's set in 2012, and they travel a good amount. So I've done like their ages. I've done what the gas price might be, because that is a concern for them. Lucky fuckers only had to deal with $3 gas. And the gas used roughly would have cost $212.72 for one of the characters' trucks. And I even made a map of where they're going, which is Albany, New York, to around Dawsonville, Georgia, up near the Appalachian Mountains. And it's also important background, how they got the cabin. Carden didn't know he had a grandma, but he did. And so when she passed away, she left him everything. And so they decide that it's a property they'd own and they can make a steady home out of it. So all 6 of them go to live on this property, and it's a fairly big property, so there's enough room for them. So I also, because there's going to be a conversation, I included what property taxes might be and how much money they make. Jonathan's boss, I'll explain later, but it's a mob boss, but set him up with a good job. And so to find the property tax approximately, I found a property tax from 2012 and just put that. Now, when it comes to creating the plot, I go based. My recording software cut me off, so I had to change recording softwares. But with plot, I build it around the characters in the world. So I know that there's gonna be the war on terror gearing up to full-scale warfare. I know that the main story is gonna last over 2 years in this book. I know who the characters are with. I know what struggles they might have. So then I can start building the plot. Evelyn's gonna have to overcome being stubborn. Ainsley's gonna have to overcome never really looking out for herself and only really looking out for her brother. And just details like that. Now, how 2 of my friends do it, they co-write a book called The Magicians. I love it. So Odd, one of the writers, made her characters, and then M made the others. They take turns writing from the character's point of view. So Odd might write from her character's point of view, and M will decide how her characters react, and vice versa. They decide on the characters and a few key details, and they've pre-decided the setting, which I'm not going to reveal too much because I don't want to spoil their book. But they pre-decide a few key details, like who's dating who, what side of the conflict the characters are going to be on, how the conflict even happened, how the characters' abilities work, and they go from there. And they've done multiple iterations of it, including Breaking My Heart by very briefly in a sort of idea bunny document, killing off my favorite character. So thanks, guys. I love them though. But that's 2 ways to write. Essentially, there's many ways to do it. There is no right or wrong way. I don't use a plot outline. Odd and M, to my knowledge, do not use one either. I know some writers do. I know some writers enjoy it. I like to just write whatever, which I will say keep some key details in your mind or in notes. I'm having that issue with Shadow of Light since I was just kind of writing and making it up as I went. I'm having to go back through the books, find key points, write them down, and then create something else off of it or create an explanation. But I hadn't even really decided to make it a key plot point yet. So, yeah, that's how it works. And I do suggest if you write without a proper setting, beginning, climax, end plotline, to at least have the big conflict kind of already mapped out. So, for example, in Child of Night, my book 3 in the Shadow of Light series, the big conflict is when the Death Dealers attack the school. So that was always going to be the big conflict. That was always kind of mapped out. I had most of that written before I wrote the rest of the story. So what happens in between the beginning, the middle, and the end is kind of whatever in my books. But there is always going to be one major key that remains the same throughout the story, and that is the threat of the Death Dealers. Even though they're not there often, you know from the beginning of the book that they are going to go after the kids at the school, and it's a dangerous situation. But yeah, that's how you start writing. And next time, let me check my notes. That's the wrong note. Here's the correct note. We are going to talk about how to create the characters and how to kind of bring them to life and the way I do it. And I will check with Odd and M if they're okay with sharing the way they do it. I asked them before I started recording this if I could use them as an example of another way to write. So hopefully I explained what they did properly. If not, I will make a correction either in the description or next video. So stay safe, have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.